Welcome to the Sunday morning service. The Incense allows you to serve today. Today is a special. The special service of Ohigan, spring equinox. The service is being live streamed on Zoom and YouTube, and we are grateful for your presence. I'm being hygiene today is our resident minister, Reverend Nariaki Hayashi. Joining him is certified assistant Bob Shimokage. Our main priority is keeping the Sangha a safe place to hear the Dharma. Although we are very happy to see each other, please be mindful of others' comfort levels. Please keep in mind the following policies. Please keep your masks on at all times. Please be mindful of social distancing. We are allowed to chant along with Reverend Hayashi since we do wear masks, and thank you for understanding. If you're new to Ekoji, you'll find in the back of each seat pocket this laminated guide, which will help you through the service and answer many questions you may have regarding the service order, as well as the history and the essentials of Shin Buddhism. Reverend Hayashi will now lead us in an opening meditation and recitation of the Nembutsu.
Meditation provides a pause that prepares our mind to speak the Dharma. Please place your hand on your lap, lower your head slightly, close your eyes, and release tension for meditation.
Please find the laminated sheet, which is in the service book in the back of each seat pocket, and we will now sing the Vandana Kitsarana, the three refuges. Please rise.
go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dhamma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance.
Please be seated. Please turn to page 29 in the service book, and we will now chant the Sambhusha. Please turn to page 39 of the service book, and we will now chant the Insight Chapter. This morning, the government message was given by Reverend Hayashi.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to our Ohigan service. So this Ohigan service occurs twice a year during the spring and fall equinox. And during the equinox, the day and night are of equal length, and the weather tends to be pleasant and mild to listen to the Dharma. So the word Oshigan, this higan literally means the other shore. The other shore, which is referred to as the realm of enlightenment or Pure Land in Shin Buddhist terms. Therefore, this observance of Oshigan is a time for us to contemplate on the realm of enlightenment, the Pure Land, that reminds us of the truth and the Nembutsu teaching that leads us to the truth. So the other day, I read an article about this very interesting theory called the Murata theory. This was a theory advocated by a professor named Professor Murata of the Notre Dame University in Japan, and is used to examine to see the mental state of the patients who are suffering from critical conditions. Doing so makes it clear for the doctor to see what the patient needs to regain their mental stability. So today I want to share this theory and talk about how this theory can relate to the Nembutsu teaching. So according to Professor Murata, our life is sustained by three main pillars: a pillar of time, a pillar of relationship, and a pillar of choice. So our lives are sustained by these three main pillars. So first is the pillar of time. We all live in time, and time moves forward, and obviously it doesn't move backwards. So time is strictly related to our future. We try to live best in the present moment so that our future goes well, and we find meaning in making a promising and a bright future. However, if we get ill or injured or otherwise experience something serious that prevents us from making the most to have a bright future, we can lose meaning and value of life. It becomes difficult for us to seek hope in our future, so our life becomes full of darkness. And the more the situation becomes severe, especially like when we are facing death, the more our life becomes darker. So our life is sustained by the hope we have towards the future, which Professor Murata meant by the pillar of time. The next is the pillar of relationship. We all live in a great web of interconnection. We all depend on each other, and we sustain each other's lives. However, when you lose the interconnection with others, like your family, your friends, or a colleague, you can feel lonely, secluded, or isolated. Because we can only confirm our existence through the connection with others, to lose the connection with others means losing yourself. So our life is sustained by the interconnection with others, which is a pillar of relationship. And the last is the pillar of choice. In life, we take care of our affairs by ourselves. And because we can take care of things by ourselves, we can make our own decisions. We can choose what we want to eat, what we want to drink, what we want to wear, where we want to go, and also when we want to take a bath. However, if we can no longer take care of our affairs by ourselves due to illness, injury, or otherwise experience a serious incident, we have to rely on others. Then the choices we can make becomes very limited. Thus, we no longer can make choices the way we used to do. We may not be able to choose when we want to get up out of our bed, when we want to eat something, or even when we want to go to the bathroom. When we are in such a condition, we can lose meaning and value in life. Therefore, the ability to make our own choices is an important pillar in life. In this way, our life is supported by these three main pillars: the pillar of time, relationship, and choice. And when we lose even one of the pillars, we lose balance in life. From a religious or a spiritual standpoint, I think the Nembutsu teaching can help us sustain these three pillars. But first, I want to talk how the Nembutsu can help us sustain the pillar of time. When Professor Murata was talking about how our life becomes dark when we lose hope in the future, our greatest problem is not injury or becoming ill, but we run out of time. After all, everyone will eventually have to face death. And all religions are concerned about what happens after we die. In fact, Shakyamuni Buddha, the founder of Buddhism, became a Buddha because he confronted the issue of death and so left his secular life. In the larger sutra, which is a fundamental sutra in our denomination of Shin Buddhism, talks about a bodhisattva named Dharmakara who aspired to establish a Buddha land called Pure Land so that all sentient beings without exception can be liberated from all stress and suffering, which is the attainment of enlightenment, and become a Buddha themselves. Dharmakara Bodhisattva succeeded upon becoming Amida Buddha. Thus, in the collected works of Shinran, it is stated, those who reach the Pure Land are brought to thorough fulfillment of enlightenment and reach the abode of Nirvana. Next, I want to talk about how Nembutsu can help us sustain the pillar of relationship. As Professor Narata noted, when we lose relationship with others, we also lose something of ourselves. However, as Shinran, the founder of Shin Buddhism, teaches us, the compassion of Amida Buddha never abandons us. In the hymns of the Seven Masters, it is stated, my eyes being hindered by blind passions, I cannot perceive the light that grasps me. Yet, the great compassion without tiring illumines me always. In the hymns of the Pure Land, it is also stated, the light of wisdom exceeds all measure, and every finite living being receives this illumination that is like the dawn. So take refuge in Amida Buddha, the true and real light. Well, these two hymns teaches us how Amida Buddha accepts us just as we are. Therefore, even if we lose a precious relationship with someone, we can still rely on the immeasurable wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha. In life, what we really need is such wisdom and compassion, especially in this time of crisis where we can easily lead ourselves to isolation. During such a time, the heart of Amida Buddha shines, the heart of Amida Buddha that is contained in the sixth chapter of the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, shines even brighter so that we can find comfort and ease of heart and tranquility in the midst of challenging situations. Lastly is the Nembutsu and the pillar of choice. Life is unpredictable, so we cannot know what will happen tomorrow. We might experience something pleasant or even a tragedy. However, even under such circumstances, we can still choose whether to take the situation negatively or positively. This idea comes from the Buddhist attitude of the middle way. As it is stated in the Flower Garden Sutra, since everything in this world is brought about by many causes and conditions, there can be no fundamental distinctions between things. So what we consider to be distinctions of negative and positive are not essentially different things because they are so interrelated. There are never separate concepts. To say why, what we think as negative is always based on positive, and without positive, negative would not exist. In this way, what we consider to be distinctions of negative and positive are no more than human bias. That is something we have made up for ourselves. Therefore, things that happen in life are not essentially negative nor positive, but they are what they are. And this is what we realize through the Nembutsu. In this regard, in the hymns of the Pure Land, it is stated, the liberating of the wheel of light is without bound. Each person it touches, it is taught, is freed from attachments to being and non-being. So take refuge in Amida Buddha, the enlightenment of non-discrimination. The attachment to being and non-being is a human mistake of thinking that things are or things are not. Through our recitation of the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Amida Buddha calls on us through us. When we receive the call, we are given the opportunity to rethink how we tend to make radical distinctions. Then we realize that we do not have to choose the situation to be negative or even positive. Thus, we can be free from leading ourselves from stress and suffering. In this way, the Nembutsu teaching that has been passed down to us through many centuries and many generations is not something far away from us, but guides our lives right here and now. Indeed, for us, the Nembutsu is a large and strong pillar that sustains the pillars of our lives. Please join me in Gasho. By reciting the Nembutsu Namo Amida Butsu, we are reminded what makes our individual lives even more meaningful, and we are also reminded the Dharma in times of need. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo.
Thank you, Sensei. It's now time for the ritual of Ashoka, the burning of incense. This is a time to quietly contemplate and reflect on the impermanence of life. We recently restarted burning incense, which involves throwing incense from a shared bowl, and we understand that individual comfort levels may differ about doing that. We offer this option to those who are comfortable doing so, but please note that this ritual is not required. We invite you to come forward to the front table and offer dasho. And should you wish, place any dana, which is our offering of gratitude to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha in the bowl on the table.
It is now time for closing meditation and recitation of the Nimbus. We have a few announcements on Saturday, April the 2nd from